Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 96. Tonight, we're going to get wholesome as we talk about the Wholesome Direct. And we've got news on upcoming games, some new Splatoon tunes, and a mini review for every N64 game on the NSO app. All of that and more. Well, greetings, fellow Nintendo pals. My name is Andros, and I am joined this week, as I am joined each and every week, by my fellow Nintendo pal, Micah.
Yep.
And, Micah, I gotta ask, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. I'm also doing pretty good. I had something that I wanted to say at the intro here, and it has completely escaped my memory. I was like thinking about this all week, like, oh yeah, I should throw that in as part of the intro. I'm sure it'll come back to me by the end of the episode.
Or right when we end the episode.
Or right when we end, we're like, oh yeah. So sorry, everybody. That's our intro this week. Hey, I forgot something. Typical old man brain. Micah, I gotta ask, do you know what we are doing tonight?
Recording a podcast?
That is true. But we're also trying to take over the world. That is right. We need your help to take over the world of Nintendo podcasts, and we do that through 5-star reviews. 5-star reviews on... Mike, I just remembered what I was going to say, actually. Stop everything. What I was going to say is welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, the show about Nintendo and friendship, because I loved that line from last week's 5-star review. Which ties right back to 5-star review. It all comes back. It all full circle with my absolutely scatterbrained thoughts here. 5-star reviews. Micah, we got a brand new 5-star review on Spotify. Those are anonymous, so we don't know who left that 5-star review, but we do know that they are awesome because they brought us to 40 reviews, a total of 40 reviews on Spotify. So we hit 50 last week on the US Apple Podcast Store and 40 on Spotify. Like it's incredible. Like I'm so excited by that, and yeah, let's keep the streak alive. If you haven't yet left us a 5-star review, you can do that on Apple, Podchaser, Spotify, and Audible. Those are all places to leave 5-star reviews. And there are links to all of those in the description of the show. So if you don't want to go looking, just go clicking. You know, click those links. You can get to the places to leave 5-star reviews. It helps us out a ton. Helps more people discover the show, and makes us just feel better about ourselves.
The real reason we want you to do it.
Yeah. Every 5-star review boosts our happiness. And what more could you want than to boost someone's happiness, right? It's easy. It's easy. Just a little click of a star. 5 stars, actually. Sorry, I totally distracted. For those listening to the audio, we had someone run by the background there. Completely very stealthy.
Very sneaky. Almost didn't notice.
Yeah, almost. Okay, Michael, I'm so scatterbrained. What's the first segment of our show? Oh yeah, it's what you playing. All right, Micah, you can hear the sound effects now. Isn't that cool? Aren't you so excited about that?
It's so cool.
You're like
10 out of 10 excitement levels
a
right
whole
now.
new world. Yeah, this new like soundboard deal we're using is different than the old soundboard, so I had to hardwire my brain not to click a button and to go click with my mouse on the digital soundboard. Yeah.
Now at least you won't be randomly doing the bumpers when you type other things.
Yeah, hopefully. They're still there, so I still could. I didn't disable those. That would have been smart. Oh, but speaking of smart, I played some awesome games this week. I'm a smart gamer. I played a bit more of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and Micah, it's awesome. I said it last week. I'll say it again. If you haven't tried the game, you gotta try it. It's so fun. I like it a lot. I played online with our buddies over at All N, the All N podcast, Seth, Eric, and Third Strongest Mole from the Retro Logic podcast. And it was so fun. We played all 4 turtles so like it was just chaos on screen. I mean, ninjas flying everywhere, turtles, and we figured out you can do these combos by jumping into each other and timing button presses. So if you like do a dive attack into your turtle buddy and they hit the button properly, they'll throw you like a baseball at other ninjas, and it's just really cool. You can sandwich enemies with 2 turtle shells. Yeah, it's awesome. There's a lot more to the game than I thought. You want to know one of those things? A double jump. I had no idea there was a double jump. That was like mind-boggling. I had played so much of the game, and I did not know you could double jump.
That's the first thing you got to check when you can jump in a game. If you can jump again.
I've crossed the line, Micah. I am an old man now. I didn't realize there was a double jump in a video game like that. What's happening? Should I like be wearing socks and sandals? Start tucking my shirt into my slacks?
No one should wear socks.
I'm wearing slacks. Ah! No, just kidding. I'm not. But it was fun. I had a good time with it, and also played a lot more Spelunky 2. And I decided that game sucks. That's how I feel.
You finally reached enlightenment.
I am addicted. It's so fun, but I get so close and yet so far with my no money runs. Still have not been able to finish a run with no money. Always something absolutely dumb happens, like an explosion offside, and then a gem comes flying at me. And I'm like, how was I supposed to dodge that? I didn't even cause the thing to explode.
Just gotta train your reflexes.
Yeah, I guess so. Dodge 1,000,000-mile-an-hour gold bars flying at your head. Needless to say, I wish I could collect money as easily in real life as I do accidentally in Spelunky 2.
You imagine you walk down the street and you're like, how did these $5,000 get in my pocket?
What the? Dang it, I collected money again. Just got a 5,000. That would be pretty cool. I was going to say $5,000 bill, like that's a real thing that you can collect in one bill. I also played some Mario Strikers, and I'm getting better, I think. I only lost 50% of the time.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Well, when I only played like 4 games, so two wins, 2 losses. But yeah, and our club is doing very well. So to all of our podcast buddies out there with your clubs that you think you guys are gonna win, you're not, because we're winning. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know exactly how that works, but we're winning.
Or what we are winning?
Pride and gloating rights, I'd say. We're the best Nintendo podcast in Strikers.
And hopefully a bunch of those fancy silver coins to deck out our field.
Yeah. I actually need to spend those. We have more than enough to spend on things. And I think people can vote on those, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, vote
Um,
for which one they want. It shows up with a little heart.
I'm seeing a lot of comments on that game. I'm seeing a lot of talk around the game and people saying this is half baked. Like Nintendo, stop releasing half baked sports games. But Micah, I've had a change of heart after last week's episode. What you said resonated with me. You should say it because I still can't say it properly. But that it's a sports game.
Yeah, I mean, you buy a sports game to play sports, and what comes to mind is FIFA. Like, no one buys FIFA, and they're like, "What the heck? All you do in this game is play soccer."
Yeah.
It's a sports game. You play the sport.
Yeah. I like
Well, I mean, a little
after
extra
you
modes
said
will be nice, but I mean,
after you said that last week, I was just like, huh, he's right. Like, I don't know what we were expecting exactly. I do think that there could be more content, and to me, it still feels like maybe this isn't worth the same as like a full price game. But what is, like what does value even mean? What is that? I don't know. I don't know what is worth $60 and what isn't worth $60, and it's
very
arbitrary.
subjective.
Yeah, and for some people, I think this game is worth it, but I think for a lot of people, it's not. That's kind of the consensus I'm seeing online. But just keep that in mind. It's a sports game, and it's for that. Besides that, I got deep into Fall Guys. Yeah, we actually played quite a bit of Fall Guys together. We played some on stream. That launched this last Tuesday.
I think it was Thursday. It was yesterday, was it?
No, that's not when it launched. What?
Oh, the game. I was
Yeah.
like, why are you saying such weird wording for we played yesterday and also getting the
Oh,
date
no,
wrong?
yeah, we played yesterday, but it launched this last Tuesday, and it was a bit of a rocky launch, I'd say. There were a lot of disconnects for a lot of people. I didn't personally experience a ton of disconnects from and getting booted from matches or not being able to get into matches, maybe because I was playing later in the day. But you and I experienced it a little bit when we played co-op, like our party stuff messing up.
Yeah, we
And
had
it
to
seems like
restart the game a couple times. You
and
got
you know
booted for
what?
inactivity.
Yes, I did in the middle of a match. I was like, "What's happening?" And I was just like teleporting on and off the stage, and then it was like, "You have been kicked due to inactivity." Like, what? I was in the middle of the game playing. That was weird. But I think these things are normal for a free to play game that it already had a popular following behind it, and for it going from where it was at to free to play, I think it's like when Fortnite launched on the Switch. It's like bound to be tons of servers, or anytime there's a new season event in Fortnite, it just gets overloaded. But they don't want to have, like, it's a dilemma for these game companies because they don't want to have all these extra servers that they're paying for
They'll get used once
that'll get used
every season.
once. Yeah. So like I don't know exactly what the solution is to that, other than the queue system, which they seem to have most places have implemented some sort of line that you get in. So yeah, I don't know. It's a downside to this style of game, and maybe just wait a little bit and it all balances out. That's what I've been playing this week. Micah, what have you been playing?
A lot of the same things. Also played Fall Guys, like you mentioned. I did play a little bit by myself and did manage to get a crown, and have since
Yeah.
decided to never play solo ever again because I'll
Oh.
never top that experience.
Well, but you need to get more crowns to get all the cool crown rewards.
Yeah, but you can get those by being in parties. You get crown shards or whatever they're called, and there aren't as many of them. You don't get as many per win, but
Yeah, if you get a win, it's like half of
Yeah, I'll
of a
say
crown.
with the duos, it's like just over half or something, and
Hmm.
then a squad's a little over a fourth or something like that.
You have to share the crown. You have to divide
Exactly,
it
you break it up.
in little pieces and divide it out. Yep, that's what it's like.
Besides that, played some Mario Strikers. I still think Boom Boom is the worst goalie in the world when he's on my team, and it
Oh yeah,
defies all
hard agree.
logic. I just I just need to know more about how scoring on Boom Boom
No,
works.
I think Boom Boom just needs to do a better job. I miss good old Croc from the other ones. He was not this bad. Boom Boom's the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah, it's like when someone just like runs up a little bit and they're still like closer to the midfield line than they are the goal, and they just like do this quick shot. I feel like even if it goes into the corner, Boom Boom should stop that. I
Mm,
want people when they score on me to have to do these like great perfect pass, perfect shot things, which are the things I always go for, but then they just get blocked anyways. And I
yeah,
don't understand. I'm
yeah,
like, man, I feel like I set up the shot so well, and Boom Boom's just like, nah, I'm just gonna hold it here. Meanwhile, Peach is like, I'm gonna kick this from midfield, and Boom Boom's like, I don't know what to do. Let me slap it back to them. But I feel like that's more of a failure of my understanding on the game, which it has improved. I feel like you just don't need to try so hard to get the perfect shot in that game. Just
yeah.
take more semi decent shots.
Hmm.
Seems to work better.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gleaning from my playthroughs as well. It's like I tend to like mix it up, go for those quick shots quite a bit, but if the opportunity is there, try and get some power shots in
Yeah.
because those do work. But Boom Boom tends to like get into better position and become a better computer
Yeah,
if
he's
you
like,
give
oh,
him
they're
time.
charging a shot. I better get
Oh,
ready.
I better get ready. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So what I kind of like to do is I run into the corner of their field area and then try and pass mid. And that sometimes pulls Boom Boom out to create an opening.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, it's a good
But then you always
strategy.
get tack. Then I always just get tackled into the fence, though.
I had one. Have you had games where you're up by one and you have the ball and you just stall out the clock? I I did that on a win because it was like I had like three straight losses. It's like
I just
I
need it.
just need a win. So I just passed it around on my end of the field and they like weren't sure if they should go for it or not, and then I charged forward with like and made a shot, like a buzzer beater shot. Like, I'll try.
Yeah. When I am in the lead, I don't necessarily just like stay back on my fields on my side, but I do
Run
try
the
and line
clock.
up for the better shots and take my
Mm,
time passing around to draw
yeah.
people out. I don't rush it as much.
Yeah. It's the way to do it. Mario Strikers. Mario Strikers. We're in it. Nintendo Pals Club. Best club. Best Nintendo club. Um,
Yeah.
what's interesting, like, is that when you defeat someone or get defeated by someone, you can like pull up the club code. So I wonder because I don't exactly know if like everyone in our club is in the Nintendo Pals community. I assume so because I recognize almost all the names. And we also have like a ton of people that are not maybe in the Discord, but that do follow and listen to the show. But if you aren't in the Discord, you should join it because it's awesome. But I wonder if people are like bailing when they get beat by by a club. They're like, well, I'm gonna go join this other club that's winning a lot more.
Yeah. The
Like that is
people
something you can
the
do.
yeah, the people I've been facing have not been thinking that. They're like, I want to face this club again because they are terrible.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm still hopeful that we see more info on content being added into the game. They have said that they will be adding stuff, so I'd like to see that soon. Like at least
Yeah, give
some
us a little
something,
tease at least.
some new characters, new features. I don't know. That would be nice. Well, anything else you want to highlight you've been playing this week?
Well, just my customary few matches of Rocket League.
This season. It's a new season. Did you get the pass?
I did. After like the third game I played, I was like, "Oh, wait a second! I haven't gotten the Rocket Pass yet." You have to remember all the unique names they have for battle passes and things.
Yeah, now they've got the Fall Guys one. Is that
I don't
just
even know what that's called.
I think it's just called Season Pass.
That
We're both like slightly thinking about getting that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the costumes they have in that are pretty cool.
Yeah,
and they look like a lot of fun. But I'm not really a spend money on cosmetics kind of guy.
Yeah,
I'll play this game long enough until a friend buys these passes for me.
So, AKA a terrible friend is what Mike. Not a terrible friend, a moocher, a classic mooching friend.
Someone who's very effective with their money.
I don't know if that's the right terminology to use. Money pinching Micah. That's what we call him.
I'm just very helpful to my friends. They're like, man, it's his birthday coming up. I have no idea what to get him. So I just need these. I mean, there are these battle passes.
There you go. Everybody knows what to get Micah for his birthday.
Or you can just give me money. That's cool too. I accept all gifts.
Oh, well, Micah. If that's all you've been playing, I guess we can move to the next segment of our show.
Yes. And before we move on to the segment after this next segment, this does count as a segment, right?
I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's an ad read. That's what it is.
Yes, this in between segment, not a segment thing. Yeah, we're going to tell you about our sponsor here.
Yes, support for Nintendo Pals is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
And we know we have a bunch of Zelda fans here, and we know how much y'all love chopping bushes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lucky for you, Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for trimming the bush that grows on your body.
Yes, it's true. And like Link in The Legend of Zelda, you can make sure you got a variety of equipment. And in this case, you can do that with the Performance Package. In it, you'll find the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, the ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver deodorant for down under, and the Crop Reviver toner. All very good smelling. It's like I'm the kind of guy that like goes to the deodorant section at the store when if I need to pick out a new deodorant. I like smell them all, and I'm a little picky. I don't like how a lot of them smell very deodorant-y, if that makes any sense. And then some of them just smell like soap. Manscaped products smell very good. Like I'd say that they have a very a good balance, and they just make you smell nice. Yeah.
And if you're looking for other bathroom goods, Manscaped has you covered with a variety of products, including shampoo, lip balm, and other deodorants for your feet and your pits.
Nice, yes.
Armpits.
Speaking of armpits, Micah, can I tell you a terrible story?
Oh, I'm definitely ready for this.
I was like not digging the hair in the armpit. All right. So I was like, I didn't like shaving because of the prickly feeling that you get. So I decided
in a sensitive area.
Yeah, exactly. So I decided I would wax my armpits. Absolutely terrible idea. For one, I had it up and I was trying to get the wax off, and it wasn't coming, y'all. And it was painful. It was awful. So I put my arm down. I was like, man, this isn't working. And then guess what? It hardened. And my armpit got like stuck together. It was a terrible experience. But since you got the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, I use that, and it actually, like, the chafing is not there, and has helped keep that hair at a reasonable, manageable length. I don't like hair. It's gross. I don't like it. And that's like one of the spots where bad for me. Anyway, that's my terrible waxing story.
Have you
Don't
ever considered
wax
shaving your eyebrows?
No,
it's extra hair you don't need.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code NPALS at manscaped.com.
That's right. That is NPALS at manscaped.com.
Have fun chopping them bushes, y'all.
Yes, and be sure to click the link. That's a Zelda pun, folks. Below for a quick link to where you can use our code NPALS. All right, now on to the next segment of our show. Let's talk the Nintendo news. All right, Micah, we got a lot of news to cover this week. Let's start with the bad news, all right? We got a bit of bad news here. The developers of Knights of the Old Republic 2, the port on Switch, have admitted to a bug making it so the game is currently not completable. And this is the team, Aspire, was the team that ported Knights of the Old Republic 2 onto the Switch. Basically, after a certain cutscene that is required for the story to progress, the game crashes, and there were complaints about it online, and they put out that they are aware and are working on a patch. And who knows? By now, that patch may be out, but that's a bit of a bummer that got released in that state.
Yeah, it's a really odd bug to have like made it through testing, where it just literally just crashes the game. Like, did none of the testers play through the entire game?
Yeah, it's about halfway through the game. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 are long games. They're RPGs, right? But I mean, if you're making a game, putting it like, you play test the entire thing, right? Like you don't just like skip to the parts that you want to play. Like, you need to play through the entire game in order for it to successfully pass a playtest. I don't know how that happened. Don't know how that one made it by.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe some last minute polishing somehow broke something.
Messed it up. Yeah, that could totally be the case. So, yeah, you take the next news item.
No Man's Sky arrives on the Nintendo Switch October 7th with a physical version available at most retailers.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's going to get like just basically a regular mass release, and I'm definitely going to be picking up a physical copy.
Yes, I definitely prefer having a physical copy, even though digital copies of games are so convenient.
True. Yeah,
although if I get one more game, I'll have to get a bigger case. Bring all my games.
Man, I have this awesome case. I have plans to make a video going over different Switch cases because there's a lot of options out there. I have so many games, y'all. Like, I have filled up. You can't see it here because my kids have been playing a lot of games, so they're in all of the Switches. But we got like
these two that fit in my case.
This holds 48 games in the case. And it's like a hard case, the size of it's actually DS. Almost the exact size of a DS. Yeah.
Every time I see it, my brain immediately jumps to DS.
Yeah. So that's nice. There is the danger of this is like, if we lose this,
that's rough.
that will be very rough. So, which it has been misplaced around the house several times, and I am always like, we have to find that. That has everything in it. That's not true, though, because we do have... I'd say like half of my library is digital. Everything indie is digital, essentially. And then first party and major releases are all physical.
Every game that's relatively small, I feel like I go digital.
Yep.
But I couldn't go digital with Mario Strikers just because the art is so good.
Oh yeah, what a great
Classic.
case. Yeah.
And then it opens up and it looks even better. I definitely showed this off like last week, I'm pretty sure, or the week before, but I love it so much.
Yeah, that is very cool. You could like you can pull the sleeve out and put it facing the other way. Have like a secondary cover.
Oh man, I might actually do that.
Yeah. Next news item: Pokemon released episode 3 of Hisui and Snow. I somehow missed episode 2.
Yeah, I saw it came out, but I think I might just wait for all of them to come out because they
seem really short.
Yeah, I don't know how connected they are actually, but I definitely forget what happened in the previous ones by the time the new one comes out.
It's not really like an episode. Like from what I'm seeing, it's not really like it's not like the Pokemon anime. Like, oh, I'm gonna watch a show. It's more of like just a very artsy showcase. Like, look at how good we are at animation. like, look at this beautiful animation. Like short film animation type stuff. I think they look good. Speaking of looking good, though, we got in this next item here. You can look good in Splatoon with some new hairstyles. I just took that transition and ran with it. It's the next point below that one, Micah. You're looking at the notes. He's so confused.
I am lost. You're talking about looking good, and this seems to be about sounding good.
No, looking good. The new hairstyles that are shown for the Splatoon character customization.
Oh, I found it. I missed it. There are also some new hairstyles shown for character customization, in case you're wondering.
Well, you can talk about sounding good. If you want to look good, you can also sound good. Splatoon 3 band stuff.
Yeah, the Splatoon band Off the Hook seems to have scattered a few new members and reformed as an act calling itself Damp Socks, featuring Off the Hook.
Oh yeah, Damp Socks. That is the grossest thing I can.
Why? I mean, it's very unique, I guess. But you can listen to their hot new single, "Candy Coated Rocks."
There you go. Yeah, it's available now on the web. Yeah, it's. I think Splatoon is just oozes style in everything. Like the music's really good, the character designs are really cool, the clothing, like the hairstyle. It seriously looked like a fashion magazine when they're like, look at these new hairstyles for your character. I'm like, what are they doing over there? Like, why do these characters look like models? What is happening?
And how did they make these tentacles into hair that just looks so good?
Yeah, exactly. What is going on? But yeah, there you go. Splatoon 3. It's on its way, and I'm pretty excited for it. I'm definitely. Are you picking up Splatoon 3? I think that one's a yes for you.
Is the plan. I really enjoyed the first one, but no one I knew got it, so I held off on getting the second because not very many people I knew were getting it.
But now we know lots of people. Now we know lots of people that are getting the third one. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a time in the Nintendo Pals community. So if you're looking for Splatoon community, come hang out with us. Links to our Discord are in the description of every episode, and they should work. If they don't, let me know. Oh man, I felt so bad that we had a broken link forever, but it's working now. Pokemon Snap dropped on the NSO app for the N64 online. And that is the end of the known games coming to N64 online. Remember when they first launched and announced it, they were like, more games will be coming, and they showed a list of games, and this is the last one. Will we get more? We don't know. We're hoping. Data mines have found evidence that there will be more, but until Nintendo says anything, we know nothing. And that's just the way it is. Pokemon Snap is a great game. We'll talk about this more when we get to the community corner pal topic part of the episode, because we got some things to say about Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, and I'll probably mention it even more next week in the What You Playing section.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because it's out now.
Yeah, and on to the next news item. Variety talked with Chris Pratt to ask about the upcoming Mario movie, and the actor described his take on Mario as unlike anything you have heard in the Mario world before. Who knows what that means?
I don't know. Does that mean he's just going to be himself? I have not heard Chris Pratt in the Mario world.
I worked very hard and a long time on perfecting this Mario voice, and it's just him talking normal.
Yeah. I mean, he was the voice actor for Emmett in the Lego movie. Yeah, so it was that was basically just him with a lot more energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like him, but he drank a couple monsters before recording every day. Like, woohoo! You know, like, so I wonder if that'll be it. We'll just get Chris Pratt. That's like kind of hyper.
I don't know. I mean, I would be a little nervous, but so far all I've heard is that Nintendo really likes it. So,
what does that mean? Miyamoto's like, this is perfect.
The real question is, did Nintendo really like the Mario Bros. Movie when it came out?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
They distanced themselves from that one pretty quick, I think.
But did they only distance once they found out everyone else didn't like it?
They distanced themselves by, probably. They distanced themselves by about like 30 plus years. you know,
for real,
like, we won't even talk about it. It doesn't exist. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful this will be good. I think Chris Pratt is a decent actor. Yeah, decent. Like he's a good actor. He's been cast in a lot of stuff. Seems like he's the current like action hero guy. But he's also done several voice acting parts, and those have been good in my opinion. So I think he'll do a good job with it. He likes Mario. You know, he shared the story about he played Mario growing up as a kid and just has a big connection with the character. So it's not like someone who is like anti-gaming or hates that sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be a questionable hiring decision.
Yeah.
Like, who's this Mario guy?
Yeah. All right, Micah. So now on to the big news items here. We've got 2 directs we're going to talk about. A direct by Nintendo and a direct by the team at Wholesome Direct. But first, let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. There was a Nintendo Direct this week. Was it what we were expecting? No, it was not what we were expecting. It was a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct, not a summer E3 style like all games, but a direct focus solely on one game. This is about 20 minutes of information covering a variety of topics. It started off talking about new story elements, like this is the world that these characters live in. Interesting concepts. It felt like I said at the time, it felt very high fantasy, Brandon Sanderson-esque. He does a lot of that kind of like blended sci-fi and fantasy in his books. And this one was interesting because it definitely has this vibe of like the rulers / like gods of the world are kind of terrible. The people in the world only have a 10-year lifespan, and they spend most of that fighting in wars, and they as they die, that feeds these giant clock things. So they're like absorbed. Their spirits are absorbed by the opposing giant clock things. And it's very weird. I like a very post-apocalyptic, war-torn world, but at the same time, the world is very pretty and has a lot of forest and interesting spots to explore. Anything you want to highlight on the story aspect of it, Micah?
I mean, I guess it seems they have a lot of technology and whatnot, but it mostly plays out in a more like fantasy way.
Yeah. That's exactly right. You were like, I see lasers everywhere, but everybody has swords.
Yeah,
and then we saw like a single guy with a laser gun.
yeah,
Like that
I'd
guy got
definitely
the
be
better
choosing
deal.
the guns.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Yeah.
why would you ever choose a sword over a gun unless you're like a Jedi?
And then we find out that the characters are, they're from opposing. I think we knew this already. There's 3 characters from. There are 6 characters in total, 3 from each opposing army and side, and they come together. And then a guy's like, "No, don't fight each other anymore." And then they're like, "Oh,
Stop.
okay, we'll team up and we'll go to the giant sword." That's the plan. So they're going to head to a giant sword in the middle of the ground somewhere. I don't know where that is, but it's huge. It's like a mountain. And from there, it went into a deep dive into the new character class system in the game, which there are a lot of options. There's a ton of classes that you can get. Among the 6 starting characters, each of them has their own class. You've got your sword fighter, you got your healer, you got your range, you got your like tank. They have the class called ogre, which I think is also like a tank.
Yeah, that.
And then they had like a class where you use paper. What is it called? It's not paper mache. Paper origami.
Wanting to say airplanes is what kept coming to mind.
Yeah, it's like this like weird origami magic, and I will say that character is probably my favorite so far. The guy with the glasses.
The best lines.
I don't remember his name, but it was like the guy turns. He's like,
help.
"We'll need you," and he just turns like, "Of course." It's so dramatic. Oh man, and you can just tell that the dialogue is going to be very, very anime, very over the top, maybe a little corny, but good, So looking forward to that aspect of it. But the class system seems to be very much tied to the clothes you're wearing. Yeah. So if you change a character's class, they get the option to be in that outfit that character has. So he can get everybody matching red jackets. And that's cool. Matching clothes is always cool.
Yeah, and I think they actually, I might just be making this up. I think they said you can just like choose the clothing you want without having to have the class effect.
Yep. Yeah, it looked interesting. And so each of the characters can have different classes, and then they can combine, and they make these Ouroboros monster things, but only one of them is in control. And depending on which person you pick to be in control, the Ouroboros has different abilities and powers. It's interesting. There's a lot of combinations of things, because not only do you have your 6 starting classes and characters, but you get an extra member of the party that is a hero character, and they have their own unique class. And as you recruit more of those, they're not in your immediate party, but they're an option in your party at all times. You can like swap them in and out, but you unlock those classes, and all of your characters can have those classes. And there were a ton. I like, and we like, they flashed all these skill trees and relationship trees and combo things.
It seemed to show some like relationship diagram, and it was the most complicated thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Well, relationships are complicated, Micah. Like it's very realistic in that regard. No, I agree. There was like points where you like, it would flash that on screen, and you'd be like, it was like opening a book of like a textbook for calculus, and just like going, "Hoo-yah," like flashing that on screen and then putting it away. And you're like, what was I just? I don't even know.
I understood nothing.
I did not understand anything that just happened there. And that's the last bullet point I have under here. Is I actually just wrote out, it looks complicated. The fights, there was so much happening on the screen and so many numbers and dials and dialogues. It was like, oh yeah, if you love numbers, you're gonna have a good time here. That's for sure. I didn't know. I was like, this looks so intense. The best way I could describe it, and I have heard the gameplay of Xenoblade described this way, is it's like an MMO, like Warcraft, World of Warcraft, but you have a full party that you control instead of just one character. So it's a little bit of that auto attack type stuff to it, but also like using your specials and combos and different things to do stuff. So it's a very action command oriented system. That's how the series has been, but it's been different each time in pretty drastic ways so far. So we'll see how it really plays. You really can't get a feel in the trailer. It was like, here's a taste, like a little drop, and that little drop had so much potent.
Actually, yeah, it's like they just threw you in the ocean of the game.
yes, but it's so potent that you're like, I don't even like, I don't know what's happening. So I don't think there's really a good way to gauge it until you're actually playing, if that makes any sense.
That we're just not very good at games anymore.
Yeah.
We might be getting too old for these kinds of
we're too
complex
old.
New games coming out.
So that's Xenoblade Chronicles Direct that we had this week. It was pretty cool. I like the focused directs. I will say, Xenoblade is not my thing exactly. For me, this made me go, I don't know, maybe I will lean a little bit to not picking this up. But for the fans of the series, which we have a ton of in our community, they were absolutely pumped. They loved it. And I think that's a win. I think it did what it was designed to do. Pump up the fans.
I give it a 0 out of 10 for having no Metroid Prime 4 news.
Well, you just got to have more than a 0. What about that infinite spinning boss?
Oh, you're right. No, back to 10. Oh, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. Some move they used, like uppercut.
The bad guy's just like up spinning, and you were like, he's still going. He's still going.
I think he did like 10, and then it just cut to something else. He didn't even like land or anything. They had to cut to something else because he was still backflipping.
If you're getting punched so hard that you're doing 10 backflips in midair, I think it's over. You're dead. Yeah. So
it's incredible.
Let's wait. Let me backtrack a little bit here. There was some discussion on Discord, which I thought was interesting, and we'll talk about what you think about this. That maybe this game, I definitely agree with this point. I think this game is noticeably
the weather's a little colder.
Yes, you know exactly where I'm going with this. The weather's a little colder. The clothes, the characters are a little less scantily clad as Xenoblade 2, and maybe not as like I don't know what to say. I always called it fan servicey. Like that's the term I would use. Like it's not as fan servicey, not as waifu-y or husbando-y. That's the opposite term. I'm learning new words, Micah. Like I sound like such an old man right now. But I agree. I think this game looks a lot more tame. And for me, that's a bonus. I actually like that was a major for me for Xenoblade 2. I was like, I don't know if I want to play that because that doesn't exactly look family friendly. But
yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a little closed-minded, but besides just it not being family friendly, I feel like a lot of media that employs tactics like that, that's like the whole reason why you would watch it. They tend to just not, or play it or whatever. They just tend to not be that good. That's their hook. Yeah. They're like, here are these scantily clad people, so play the game.
Which is a problem because Xenoblade 2 is actually a really good game. Like the gameplay and the world, people love it. So it just feels like it's matched with a little bit of that cheap tactic. You know what I mean? Like not cheap, but I don't know what to call it, what to say, what it is. But yeah, I think that this looks more like a blend of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 art style and 2's art style. This is somewhere in the middle, but leans a little bit more towards 1. And part of that, I think, is due to the much more serious backstory and like plot of the world, with like these characters are like on a time limit for their lives in constant war. It would be a little weird with Xenoblade 2's art style to have that sort of like really dark plot. I mean, it totally could happen, but it just feels like it lends itself to taking it a bit more seriously. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm honestly still surprised that Xenoblade 2 just went up and are like, yeah, this is Nintendo first party. Like, it just feels so not Nintendo for the fan service type stuff. I don't know. Like Miyamoto's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that works. Like, go for it. Let's put him in Smash Bros. Like, why not? Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, I'm excited. I think that I like the direction it's going with the art style. Maybe making it a little bit more tame approach. Maybe not for everybody. Maybe some people really prefer the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 art style. And you know what? Power to you. Whatever floats your boat. Or your Xenoblade. Whatever floats your Xenoblade. Let's move on to the Wholesome Direct. Completely 180ing it from this discussion. The Wholesome Direct. Micah, did you sit down and watch the Wholesome Direct?
Of course I did.
Yeah, Micah did not watch the Wholesome Direct.
At least all the way through. I would not watch this Wholesome Direct.
I watched this Wholesome Direct from start to finish, and let me tell you, there are a lot of games. I have them all listed out here.
Also a lot of birds.
There are a lot of birds. 30 of them in one game. I have them all listed out here, but there is no way we can go through these one by one. There's just too many. I highly recommend this presentation. If you're looking for a good presentation during this whole not E3 games announcement season, this is my favorite by far. So far, out of all the ones I've watched, this is the best one. The pacing is phenomenal. All right. They do this is basically an indie direct. It's like that same type of pacing and same caliber, but it's a little bit longer. I think this was you cut that intro segment that they had that was like before it actually starts. It's like someone drawing with some music. I think it's like a little less than an hour long, like 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like a longer indie showcase, an indie world by Nintendo. And I almost would say that they did a better job with pacing than even Indie World does. Like the games don't stick on games too long. It's very short, rapid succession, game after game after game. And all of them were pretty good looking. So we'll go through and talk about the ones that I can remember because there are so many. So going down the list, I do remember they showed off Little Bear Chef, which looks like you play. It's kind of chibi Robo, and they but you're a little bear and you're cooking things in a kitchen. Kind of had that vibes a little bit, but not really. If that makes any sense at all. That one looked interesting. Lumberjack. And that one is out now. I believe it is out on Nintendo Switch. And you play as a bear that is taking out human technology because we want to return the forest to its natural ways. And you slap sense into dumb humans. That was one of the things.
Interesting.
So, like, when you see a person, you slap them. Like your bear just slaps them, and then they go, oh, and they
Have a
suddenly are
change of
more,
heart.
yeah, they're more environmentally conscious, and that is, I mean, if I got slapped by a bear, I'd probably consider being a
I
little bit
think
better to the
I think the
environment.
first thing I would do actually would be to die. But
What
it's
if it's
starting to
just a
sound like
little?
you just
No, it's
really want to play a game as a bear.
a little tap. Yeah, those are 2 games with bears that I remember. Uh, that one was interesting. Keeping going down the list here. 30 Birds. Now, this one had a very unique art style to me. It looked kind of like a stained glass painting come to life almost. Very painterly. And yeah, that's what stood out to me about that one. Other than that, I can't tell you what the game was about, but it looked cool.
Probably involved birds, I'd assume.
Stop me if there's any that you want to talk about as well, Micah.
I mean, I have watched this whole direct, so there are quite a few that stood out to me.
The next one that stood out to me was Mail Time, which you play as a mail delivery mushroom. You are a mushroom person, and it looked very much like Wind Waker. So that one looks really cool. I think you would dig the art style and direction for that one, because I know you're a big Wind Waker fan.
Yeah, and that mail minigame in Wind Waker is one of the best parts of the entire game. So
Yeah, they were like, let's make a whole game out of it. I don't know if it follows the exact same types of. It definitely doesn't use the mini game, but
yeah,
but they definitely look like they to be inspired by that. Then there's a walk with Yaya, which I only remember because you and I talked about it last week, and I learned that that's how you spell Yaya.
yeah. It was not the way I imagined, because that kind of became my niece's nickname for their grandma, which would also be my mother. I don't know why I said that so weird. We found out that's how it's spelled, and we're like, huh, that's interesting. It's like a real thing.
There was Chicken Journey where you play as a chicken. That one was just like, oh, you play as a chicken. Interesting. And you're learning who came first, the chicken or the egg. Solving the great mysteries of the world.
But I mean, I think we all know which came first. It's obviously the chicken.
Really?
And that's we're talking eggs in general, but if we're talking chicken eggs, because if the egg came first, there would have been no chicken to sit on the egg to hatch it. Gotta think these things through. I mean,
it's like really waiting for some real logic there, and you brought it. I'm
right.
not disappointed. Several games shown off. Calico was shown again because it's got some DLC. But this one was interesting. Paper Animal RPG, and it's the art style of Paper Mario, but with the gameplay of like Pokemon and of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I was just the Mystery Dungeon series. They describe the maps as like little board games, and you travel around the board games on like a grid system and fight in turn-based ish combat. Cool idea.
This is actually one. I feel like they had something about this before this Wholesome direct. I think.
I feel like I knew
about. I feel like I'd known about this one, but yeah, this one's actually stood out to me. Looks pretty good.
And then
I'm thinking of some other RPG that has animals.
Next one that stood
Bug Fables.
Besides Bug Fables. Yeah. The next one that stood out to me was Love Burb. And it's just funny because you play as a bird that is trying to find a new bird. And you do the whole like what's the app? Tinder for birds. You like swipe to the different sides, and then it's a rhythm game where you do
Your mating
a bird
dancer.
dance. Yep. You do a dance on the date with the other bird, and the dialogue looked hilarious. Just the whole premise looked really funny. So that's one I'll keep an eye on. I think that one looked pretty funny. Then let's definitely highlight Coffee Talk Episode 2. Coffee Talk is a game I haven't personally played, but I know our friends over at the All End podcast really like that game and had nothing but good things to say about it. And it takes place in our old stomping grounds of Seattle. Basically, the premise of those games, or of Coffee Talk...
Of course, it's a coffee game. It has to take place in Seattle.
That's true. The premise of Coffee Talk is that it's in Seattle in this weird alternate dimension with a lot of diverse types of creatures with like fantasy elements. So there's like elves and ogres and monster creatures, and you run a coffee shop. And it's like making coffee, but also a conversation simulator. And the stories are just really well done. It seems like a really cool game. I feel like I'm seeing names of games on here, and I'm like, I recognize the name, and I feel like I remember it being cool, but I don't remember it because there's just so many games in this presentation.
Yeah, you can't remember it all.
Frog Gun,
which is why I've forgotten so many of them from when I watched it.
Yeah. Frog Gun, where you have a grapple gun that's a frog. And that frog is your best friend. So yeah,
sounds like
we should start. We should start our own game.
Friend.
We should start our own game, Nintendo Pals, and like I'll be like a gun, and you walk around and carry me around, and what would I do?
I was actually thinking I'd be the gun, and when you shoot me, it would just shoot comments that I say of things like "Ocarina of Time isn't that good," and it hurts.
It hurts you with words.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, my childhood." Fall over. Comatose.
I don't think I could use that gun. Be against my moral code.
You have to do the pacifist run.
The pacifist route. And it showed there was another game, Garden Witch Life, which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, was it's kind of a farm simulator that was kind of Halloween-y themed. Looked nice. But then it showed Ooblets. And Micah, let me tell you, I'm even more excited for Ooblets after that trailer than I was already day one purchasing Ooblets when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. It's just so funny looking. It looks so great. And it showed so many like random scenes. Like there's a part where they're in like a server room with all these computers and technology, and things are just exploding everywhere. And then it cuts to a battle where it looks like your Ooblets are like digitized. And I'm like, I wonder if there's like that would be interesting. Is there any
connection between these two scenes?
Yeah, is this like, what's the story going on here? I'm very excited for this game.
You released the Ooblets that were trapped in the servers.
In the servers. Yeah, I just am very excited for that game. It's so stylish and so goofy and just looks so fun. Everybody check out Ooblets. All right, now moving down here. Skatebird looks really good. And
another one of them bird games.
Isn't that already out? I want to say that this was a trailer for an update. And one of the updates is now you can play as an Among Us crewmate, not a bird. Or are they a bird? Now we know.
Yeah, we don't know.
So yeah, you can play.
I mean, they do have that like cracked egg skin thing you can get for Among Us. So I don't know. They might be birds under there.
Then there was like, I'm like looking through here. Paper Trail, if I remember correctly, was a game where you like fold papers it's a puzzle solving game. Fold papers to get to different dungeons. Like the map itself folds, and that's how you can traverse. Passepartout 2. I think, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You paint pictures for people, and that one looked really cool too.
I don't know if it's a. I mean, you said toot, and I feel like that can't be the correct pronunciation.
I just copied it from the website, so maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Passepartout.
Passepartout. It might be French.
Ah, yes.
I don't know if that's how it would be pronounced in French, though.
Freshly Frosted, a puzzle game where you make donuts. But it's all in the mind of the person that is making the donuts. They use it as a relaxation or like focusing exercise.
So you can also use it as a focusing exercise to help someone else focus.
Whoa, that would be interesting. Like, all right, time to channel my inner donut maker, and then let's get to work. that's what we're doing here. Micah, you might like A Frog's Tale, which I just because of Chrono Trigger, I was like, yeah, frog. It's a frog with a sword.
It definitely just made me think of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, the ending scene of it with like a frog with a sword looking out over a cliff was like, that's pretty cool. But I don't recall anything else about the game. Little Gator game looks really great, but I don't know what it's about from this trailer. I feel like I've seen Little Gator game somewhere else already, and I just don't know what it's about. But it looked really funny. And you know what, Micah? We Are OFK returned. Do you remember We Are OFK?
Of course.
I was like, hey, that's that one kind of thing.
Interactive music story game.
Yes. So all this one didn't show any gameplay trailer. It was just the hi, Wholesome direct viewers. I am so-and-so, the lead singer of OFK, and this here is my cat hologram thing. And there was like just like a cat there that was like not, it was like kind of sci-fi looking. I feel too old to understand what OFK is and what they're trying to do, but they were here.
But they're doing it.
But they're doing it, and they're doing it well. And now I'm going through here, and I'm like, I don't remember any of these. Doki Toki, I do remember, because it was like a puzzle game where a girl is looking to meet her true love, but every time she starts thinking about it, time slows down, and then there's like a puzzle to solve in this weird slow-mo time. The only reason I remember it is because her voice was so like anime character little girl sounding, like not little girl, but like Misty from Pokemon. No, not a good describer. I don't know, like the tone of voice, the voice actress that was reading whatever for that part was such a turn from the game before, which was Tracks of Thought. I think was a puzzle game, and it was like, what is, like, it was a slap, like a whiplash in the presentation. Like, what's happening? What is going on? And that's the only reason I remember that one. Right, and I think that's all I want to highlight. The last game that they closed out with is a game called Melatonin, and it is Rhythm Heaven Fever. Like that's what it's going for. It's going to be a Rhythm Heaven game, but not in the Rhythm Heaven art style. It is still very artistic, but a totally different artistic direction, but the same style of game. And I don't know, it looked really good to me. That's it. I really talked through the Wholesome Direct. Anything you want to revisit or talk about, Micah?
I mean, what are the odds? You mentioned all the games that stood out to me as well.
Well, Micah, then I think that's the end of the news segment. We had a whole bunch of news this week. The Wholesome Direct was very good. I will say that again. That was my favorite presentation of the summer video game presentations. And this is like all indie titles. I just think that
indies are the future.
They just did a really good job pacing this presentation. They did a fantastic job of putting this together and organizing it in a way that was very good. Like kudos to them. They've nailed the formula. They are the only ones that are doing it as good as Nintendo. That's my opinion. Speaking of doing a direct as good as Nintendo, Micah, maybe we should move to the next segment of our show. Let's check in with the rumor Pikmin at the rumor mill. All right, Micah. I may have forgot to fill the notes here, but as you may know, rumors are a swirling of a Nintendo Direct coming this next week. So I wanted to go over this with you. The most ridiculous leak I think I have ever seen, which was on 4chan. It's like it's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so here are the things that are going to be coming in the Direct according to this leak. Bayonetta 3 trailer, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 final story trailer, Metroid Prime remake trailer, Fire Emblem Litany, update on Advance Wars 1 and 2 that it's been canceled. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Mario and Strikers Battle League Season Pass. I hope that, like, I guess I should have tagged this with spoilers because maybe some of this stuff is true, but you're going to find how just ridiculous this is as we come here.
Do they mention Prime 4? That's the ridiculous part?
Nope. But we are going to get N64 Online, Banjo-Tooie, Super Smash Bros., Pokemon Stadium, Donkey Kong 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and a secret game coming soon. This is where I'm like, this is ridiculous. They are not going to announce, like, that is all the, like, huge N64 titles. There's no way that is what we are going to be getting in an announcement.
Doesn't sound that crazy.
How about this? Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2 translated into English on the Super Nintendo online app.
Sounds very reasonable.
That
a reasonable amount of effort to put into NSO.
Potentially so Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass Wave 2. Free update for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Project Island, new IP. And special video from Anuma saying that there will be new news for Breath of the Wild 2 later this year.
And that'd be terrible. Where's the
Super
Prime 4
Mario
video telling us we'll get news?
Nothing. Even this leak doesn't believe Metroid Prime 4 is coming. Okay, now here's the third-party games coming to Switch. Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion.
A classic. Final Fantasy VII.
Resident Evil for Cloud. Bridal Bloom. I don't know what this is. PUBG. But only a cloud version. This is where I was like, all right, this is absolutely
the Halo
bogus. Master
Chief Collection.
Oh no, my God. No. Cyberpunk 2077. Your face is just the instant like, that.
I mean, it's technically a possibility.
Cloud
version, right?
Yeah. And I think that's where I'll end it because a lot of these are just like, okay, Overwatch 2, like things that are known. This is fake. This is 100% fake, everybody. Please do not believe any of that. I just wanted to go over it because it's so ridiculous. A full English translation for Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2? Why would they do that? Who is asking for that, first off? Like, I know that there are a very niche set of people that would love that, but that is not something that needs to be released on NSO. It's like, if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna put the work into translating those games, those are gonna come out as a bundle, as a separate thing. There's no way that's coming to NSO. And then the N64 app, that was a dream team list. It would have maybe been more believable if they threw in some, like, not the best games on the system.
I don't know. What they have on the NSO's the 64 so far is pretty good.
Yeah, I don't believe it. And then Cyberpunk, like, no, they're not putting Cyberpunk on the Switch. Get out. And you know what? At this point, Final Fantasy pixel remasters are just as unlikely. Square's not gonna do that. They're just being silly gooses over there at Square Enix. Yeah. So there you have it. I don't believe any of that, personally. But this isn't really a rumor, but more of speculation. The rumor Pikmin couldn't find, solid fruit this time, so they brought us back some, like, weird stuff. They're like, hey, here's some speculation. Fruit. I was listening to the Kit and Krista podcast, and for those that don't know who Kit and Krista are, they are the former hosts of Nintendo Minute, a show that was on Nintendo's YouTube channel, and did advertising for them. They also were employees at Nintendo, and Kit specifically was, like, head of the, like, of one of the, like, marketing side of things, like the social media side of things. So some people with former inside information, they have no idea when the direct is. I mean, maybe they do, and they're just, like, playing it coy, but they were like,
yeah, who knows? They might still have some connections,
They both believed it was going to be coming this month, but this last episode of their podcast, they were like, they were starting to doubt, based off of the fact that the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 direct came. They were like, this makes it seem like it's not going to be in June. Like, they're not going to have it in June. They're going to wait. And he talked specifically about how they portray this attitude that Nintendo has of not wanting to do what people expect, and how they'd be like, they don't like these people predicting and getting it right, because there were people, he was like, I remember someone predicting, they're going, okay, this is when it was the last 2 years in June. And he's like, when I was formerly working here, and they were like, so the next direct should be either this day or this day. And that was the day that they had set aside. And he was like, and we were like, dang it, like, they know already. That's not fun. Like, and they were like upset. Like, Nintendo was upset that people had, like, figured out a pattern and guessed it. And so he's like, they may be just sort of holding to be different and be unique, and so just kind of stick it, like, stick it to the people. I'm don't take my quotes here word for word for what they said, because I'm obviously filling in, like, I don't remember word for word what they said, but I got the vibes that there's this, like, attitude of, we got to be different. And if people are guessing the exact days, then they're probably not going to do it those exact days. That was my vibe. And now I'm like, everybody needs to stop. Okay, just stop predicting when it's going to be, and we'll just and then maybe they'll release it.
Then we can actually get it.
One thing that they did say was that the dates in general, they have a plan that, and they work with, because they work with third parties and gaming partners to get the news and things for the presentation. They have a plan lined out that they follow for, like, a year, but the specific days and the specific details of those presentations are flexible in the like weeks prior. So there is no, like when we say like, oh yeah, they're preparing these directs for months in advance. So obviously we're still going to have an E3 direct. Well, not necessarily. They can flex that around quite a bit if they choose, because that's how they do them. They're not like, they're not set in stone for the entire year, if that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They have rough time frames. Like, we're going to do one in the winter, or we'll probably do one summertime. What do you think about that, Micah?
I think there's no point in guessing.
Here's what I think. I think Nintendo needs to stop worrying about being
Different.
too unique.
I mean,
yeah.
I would be okay if they have their regular
you guys
time
could
that
just,
people know.
You guys could just fall into a schedule. It's still going to be full of surprises. Maybe this part of this is to try and prevent leaks, because if there's like a known date well in advance, it seems like leaks happen more often that way.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like I smack a lot on the leaking community, but this is a Nintendo podcast and we support plumbers like Mario and Luigi, so we don't like leaks. That's what I'm getting at here. No, but if that is the case, then these aren't good for us as fans. We want these things, and we can't have nice things because people ruin it. that's what I'm getting at. Spider Shan had a good comment on Discord. He said the leakers won't chill until people stop following their every word and stop clicking on their stuff. It's true.
Which means they'll never chill.
Which means it's never going to happen. But at the same time, flip side, why should Nintendo care? Like just do it, Nintendo. Just do what you're going to do anyway. Just don't I just don't think that should be affected by what people are saying online at all. Because no matter what, people are going to be upset or really excited. Unless your direct has a brand new Zelda and a brand new Mario in it, everybody's going to be angry. Not everybody. There's going to be like huge swaths of angry people.
Don't forget a new Metroid game.
What's Metroid? Oh, no, yeah, no, a new Metroid game. But I mean, I'd say the Metroid fandom is fairly more niche by comparison to Mario and Zelda.
Less niche than Fire Emblem, according to game sales.
True. And they really love to show Fire Emblem.
They really do.
Yeah. It's interesting how big Fire Emblem has gotten from like a PR standpoint when it sells roughly about as good as Metroid. And there really isn't like another game like Metroid, you know? It's so unique. They don't have like something else filling that void. Like, oh yeah, here's your other sci-fi space explory game. Like, nah, they don't have anything like that. But oh well. Yeah, generally, if a direct has Zelda and Mario in it, people are going to be hyped. And it's going to be overall reviewed as positive. But if it doesn't have either of those, then everybody's going to be like, oh, what was a waste of time showing all these niche games. First off, oh my gosh, the amount of people, these have to be trolls, but the amount of people that are like, I think I speak for everyone when I say nobody wants a Xenoblade direct. You guys those people are just ridiculous. What? Are you serious right now? You speak for everyone? Look at the sales of these games. These are not niche games. They're niche by comparison to Mario and Zelda, I guess. But they're selling millions and millions of copies. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And the best part about doing these like focus directs, like Xenoblade directs, you don't have to watch it. You know what's in it. You know, oh, that's a Xenoblade direct. I'm not interested in picking up Xenoblade. So rather than go out onto
And
some
hope there's
social
something you
media
want
site
in the game.
and be clickety clacking on your keyboard, this is the worst, dumbest thing ever that Nintendo could do right now. You could just go, oh, wait, I don't have to watch that. This is perfect. Now, when the next Direct comes, that won't be in it. I know it's shocking to not complain, but it's a win-win because the people that want it got it, and you don't have to watch it. I'm sorry, I'm going dad mode on the internet. Yeah, so we have a question about this. So, Michael, why don't we jump over to the next segment of our show, and let's talk about. Let's do the community corner. We've got several questions in the community corner, but I guess we'll start with that one from Presto. What do you say?
Sounds good.
So Presto asked us, would you want Nintendo to do game-focused directs for their existing games like they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and then put all the new announcements into a normal direct? Thoughts, Micah?
I mean, I kind of like the game, like the one game focus, because it kind of lets them go a little more in depth on those games if people want even more information. And then the other directs are just full of surprises instead of being like, oh, I guess it's more Xenoblade news, which you might not be so excited about since you already know about it. It's coming out soon and you could potentially just play it.
Yeah, I like that idea, but I also feel like it sort of taints the direct to be all new. And so like everything's a new announcement. And so when everything's super, nothing is super. You know what I mean? It's just like too much new. But I think
that just
that
sounds awesome to me.
Both of these directs can exist. It can coexist. I definitely like that idea. I liked the idea of a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 focus direct. I would love to see them do that for Splatoon. I'd love to see them do that for Breath of the Wild 2, for a new Mario game, for whatever they want to do that for. I think that's cool.
I don't think every game needs like a focus direct on it, but I think some games kind of deserve it. If they're kind of harder to explain, like
big focus
the mechanics
games
and things.
Well, I think Splatoon 3 would be a perfect candidate for that. And that's not really hard to explain what you do. Like, I think it would be fun because there's lots of aspects to it. You've got the story side, the single player, and then there's also the multiplayer. There's enough information they could present in a very detailed direct format. I don't know. I like both, but I don't necessarily need the directs to be all focused on all new things. That would be cool, but I also think that would be a little bit. There are problems. One, everything they'd show would be coming out like way far down the road, right? I mean, I guess they could have a couple surprises in there, but right now, like, we know everything first party that's coming out almost through the entire year. The only month that's missing something. Well, the only month that is missing a title is October. And I guess December, but we're getting a Pokemon in November. And pretty sure Bayonetta is coming in October. I don't know. Like, I just feel like at that point, if they're going to only announce new games, they're going to be talking about stuff way out, like deep into next year. I don't know. But I agree. I like the idea. I like both. Let's have both. Yeah. Why not both? And then if it's on a game you don't like, you don't have to watch it. That's the beauty of it, is like, you know that the direct is about Xenoblade. You know the direct is about Fire Emblem. You know it's about Zelda, and you know whether or not you want to watch it in advance. Whereas the direct is about surprises. And so if you're just wanting to see a lot of games and seeing what's coming in general, you're going to be hyped for that. And if you didn't want to go in more detail, you didn't want to know about the class systems of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or that bad guys can do 10 backflips when they get hit, you don't have to watch. It's pretty cool. I like it. Personally, I'm okay with it. Now, here's the thing, though. Remember the direct minis that they did during
maybe
pandemic time? There were like 2, maybe 3 direct minis, and then they stopped. They didn't do any more of those ever again. They were like 10-minute long presentations, all focused on third party entirely. And I thought that they were getting better. I was like, the first one was like, it's okay. It was okay. The second one was better than the first one, and the last one was like, this is pretty good presentation. And then they stopped, and they're not doing them at all anymore. So this could be just a complete one-off thing. They're like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 needed its own direct, but they're not going to do it for anything else. Could be. You never know. Nintendo wants to be unexpected, so...
Plus, I think Xenoblade's complex enough that even though they showed us 20 minutes of things, when there's like so much content to it, that I still understand absolutely nothing about what I saw.
Yeah, it's true.
Because I don't necessarily like to be shown too much about a game before I play it. So I don't think it would work with every game, because then you'd see too much and you'd know too much.
Ninfrendo in chat says bring back the puppets. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
The Nintendo puppets, the Nuppets, as they like to call them. That is actually what they're calling them. What they called them. I'm not making that up.
I was wondering, because I didn't remember if they called them Nuppets.
Thank you so much for the question, Presto. We have a couple more questions here, Micah. Next question is, can you guys do this is from Daisy Rose on Spotify. Can you guys do a Stardew Valley for Nintendo Switch review? Daisy Rose, I apologize, but neither Micah or I have played a lot of Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I actually forgot about the trial they had. I was going to try it out, and then I just spaced out.
But I actually can give a secondhand review, because you know what? My wife loves this game. My wife loves Stardew Valley, and I have seen a lot of gameplay of the game, and I did try it. I couldn't get into it myself. I just don't think I'm into like the farm sim genre. But the thing about Stardew Valley is there's a lot to it besides the farm sim. There's like a whole dungeon side game in the game where you're like going through levels in a mine to fight monsters and collect resources and stuff. There's all these unlockable points in the map, and at this point, he's the creator of the game has added so much free content that there's like an entire other island that you can go to. There's all these different story points and character side quests and things. It's very, very in depth. Like, this is a game you could easily lose several hundred hours in if you get into it. And then it's also a farm sim. That just is a really good farm sim. It's like the best in the genre. So that's my like mini review of Stardew Valley. I recognize that it is a fantastic game, but just not one that I am into. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Kind of like I feel like I can.
It's like I feel like I can recognize when a game is extremely good, but I don't know, but I'm not into it. And yeah, I guess like how we have viewed Xenoblade to this point, but I really haven't tried Xenoblade, where I have tried Stardew Valley. Ninfrendo also mentioned dating sim. Yeah, there is a dating aspect to it as well. You can get married, you can have kids. Funny story, my wife got married to a character in game and accidentally hit the auto name the child, and happy to announce that she had a beautiful boy named Zetch
What?
Zetch, the baby.
Interesting. I thought you said Dizzetch, which was a little
Nope.
more interesting, but
Zetch. The auto
still
names that it
not super
picks.
common.
The auto names that it picks are the same for your animals and your children, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
what a
hilarious.
game. I also like the undertone in that game where you are like fighting Amazon. There's JoJo Mart, where that's you originally work as like a developer at JoJo. That's the story of the game. You are in an office and then you just throw your fists in the air and you're like, I don't want this life anymore. And you decide to go, you decide to take your grandfather's offer to go live on his farm. Like he's passed away and you get to inherit the farm. It's all in disrepair and you get to bring it back to life. It's pretty. I like that because then JoJo Mart is trying to move into town with their superstore, make like a Walmart center, and you can choose to go that route and support getting that into the town, or make the right choice and support the local business. And then by doing that, so those are two ways to unlock like different things from the community center. You're either turning the community center into Super Walmart because you're a monster, or you are turning it into you're fixing the
Who wants cheap goods.
Yeah, you're fixing the community center to be a community place for people to come to, and then it runs JoJo Mart out of town with the shop owner literally punching him through the ceiling. The JoJo Mart guy, who is just sleazy. Like they really do not be subtle with like, if you go this path, you are a terrible person. Like you just feel bad. And I do enjoy that. Small business all the way. Yeah. There you go. Do you want to give a review of Stardew Valley with what you know about Stardew Valley?
Well, I know they have plants, and plants are pretty cool. I would probably die if I didn't eat any plants.
That should go on the back of the box. Plants are pretty cool. Micah,
Cool
Nintendo
Pal host.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much for the question, Daisy Rose. Ask that question on Spotify. If you're on Spotify, there's a spot where you can ask questions, and we do see those. I guess I forget to mention that at the start of every community corner that you can ask us questions through any of our social media channels. The easiest way is probably through Discord if you join up our Discord, but you can also hit us up on Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, send us an email, whatever you want to do. Get us a question, get us a topic. We'll talk about it. Leave a comment in your 5-star review. That's what Parbrand does. Well, speaking of which, Parbrand did have a question that I forgot to add to the notes. Sorry, Parbrand, but whose idea was it to do a lawn mowing stream? That was my idea.
Yep.
And that was the second time I've done a lawn mowing stream. So there you go.
Yeah,
and not lawn mowing.
I come up with the cool ideas like the Pokey Patreon rap. Andros comes up with the old man dad mowing a lawn ideas.
The cool ideas. Name one other cool idea you've come up with, Micah.
One other? There are just so many I can't think of.
Yeah, you're I was like, you name the single instance that comes to mind immediately of the cool idea Micah came up with. Let's look at.
I had the idea that you should play Wind Waker. Cool idea.
It was a cool idea. Lawn mowing simulator? No, I actually mowed my lawn on stream. I guess people listening to the podcast might not know that we have a stream that we do. We stream stuff over on Twitch. We have a YouTube channel, and we are making amazing content over there as well. It's not as long as this podcast, so if you're listening to this, you got time probably to go check out YouTube, youtube.com/NintendoPals. Or twitch.tv/Nintendo_pals. And yeah, check us out for our live content. Cause like that's we've got some really cool ideas coming down the pipe. We did our Nintendo Direct AI stream. I had so much fun making that. We turned that into a YouTube video. Yeah, it's a fun time. I'm like, I love making this stuff, and Micah is along for the ride. No, Micah enjoys making it as well, but is not as vocal about that part as I am. I just enjoy it. Thank you so much for the question, Daisy Rose. Let's move on to the next question here from Purple Ryulu. What Nintendo franchise would make for the best slice of life TV series? What you picking, Micah?
Well, I want like in the Mario universe, Mushroom Kingdom, but instead of like Mario and whatnot, it's Luigi and his regular stuff that he does while Mario is off saving the princess.
That is pretty good, actually. I like that.
So like weave into the background a little bit that like Bowser's kidnapping the entire castle, just floating off with it, and Luigi's just like buying a watermelon at the market while all these toads are freaking out.
Yeah, it's like he's like living life while his brother's out doing all these like
life.
crazy things. He's like at home cooking. He's like the stay-at-home wife or husband, like whatever he wants. Like the stay-at-home member of the duo. Yeah, that is funny. I like that. Not that that's not a hard job. All right, staying at home is a lot more work than going out to work. Let me tell you. It's a ton more work.
How is it doing both though? Staying at home and working.
Yeah, that's a lot. I feel like there's an easy answer to this one.
Don't say Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Animal Crossing. Why can't I say Animal Crossing? It's too easy.
Boring.
No, I'd love that. I would watch that show. The slice of life Animal Crossing anime. Like, yeah, I'm all for that. That just sounds so chill and nice, and like I want to tune in every week for just a nice thing to watch where I'm gonna feel good. It's a boring pick, I guess, but I thought maybe you hadn't thought of it.
Old man idea right there.
And you were gonna be like, oh dang it, how did you think of that? And I didn't. Let's see, what other Nintendo series would I do for that? I didn't give it any other thought than that. I was like, Animal Crossing, it's too perfect. Wow. We've got some here in chat, some comments on Legend of Zelda Slice of Life.
Yeah, I was going to say Legend of Zelda, 10 years after Link vanquishes Ganon. And now he just lives a regular life.
It's like all about him forming relationships with all of the eligible bachelorettes in the game. Like it could be well, which game are we talking about? Ocarina of Time. This is like Rudo, Malin, Zelda. You know,
maybe he has a kid and he realizes
Breath of the Wild.
Kids are way worse than Ganondorf. Worst isn't the worst way. Isn't the best way to describe what I meant by that. More difficult.
More difficult. Wow, this is harder than beating Ganon. Or he could be like, I'm so hungry I could eat a whole Octorok. Oh, please don't. We have a comment in chat from Purple who says, have you seen the Animal Crossing movie? There is an Animal Crossing anime movie, and yes, I have seen it. I saw a fan translation. It was pretty good. And I feel like that's why it would make a really good show. It's not recent. I think it came back out in like Wild World era, so like DS time frame. And it was funny because it had both the male and female villager, and it kind of focused on the female villager, with the male villager being kind of like this like troublemaker punk kid. He always wore the joke glasses that you can get in the game that have like the fake nose and mustache, and he'd like be chasing around and like catching bugs and stuff. You're like, oh, what a boy that guy is. You know, I do like the idea of a Zelda slice of life what other games? I'm really struggling to think here. Maybe Fire Emblem would be a good pick for that, probably.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I feel like there'd be a lot of dating in that, a lot of tea time.
Tea Time the show. How about Kirby? Kirby, that would be cool.
I mean, they could even do a Metroid. I mean, Samus can't be hunting all those bounties all the time. So name one time when she actually like does her job as a bounty hunter.
Oh, I mean, she did get all the Metroids except for the one that she brought into captivity. Listen, she just needs to stop working with the freaking Federation scientists because they're the worst. They're like, hey, yeah, so we accidentally cloned this thing, and then our whole space station exploded because of this crazy virus we created. Sorry about that. Or the time that, they sent research robots that could freaking kill people, and those got taken over by bad guys. Huh. Whose fault is that?
But how could they have possibly known they would have gotten hacked?
How could they have possibly not known that those things could get dangerous and kill people? They emanate evil
they're
robot.
made to be dangerous and kill people. Actually, no, they're not made to kill people. They're made to collect samples, aren't they?
Yes, but they collect samples by stabbing things.
Well, how else are you going to collect samples?
The whole concept, not good. Yeah. So Zelda. So let's hone in a little bit more on the Zelda, like Skyloft. That would be.
It doesn't even have to focus around Link. It should just be.
Yeah.
Anyone but Groose.
Anyone but Groose? What are you talking about? Groose is the best. A whole show for Groose. How dare you? You just smacked on him because I love Groose.
There's a pretty good chance that's the case.
Yeah, get out of here. Let's move on to the next question. I like that question a lot. It's fun. It's fun to picture like what that could be like. I am shocked that Nintendo hasn't leaned more into that. We had Kirby Right Back at Ya, which I actually really liked. When I was younger, and that was
it was awesome.
A new show. I thought it was awesome. Pokemon. I loved Pokemon as a kid. Loved the show. Loved the movies. Why don't they do that with more things? Like they had that. I always talk about how I want a Smash Bros. Anime from that one trailer they did with Link versus Pit. That was all anime style. That was so good. It's just like
it could be so cool.
Look at what you could have, but you're never gonna get. Like I just wish they would open up more on that side. Like we don't need movies. You are in Japan, like the anime capital of the world. Just like, could you imagine like a Studio Ghibli Zelda project?
So like a movie,
or a show, or a game. I would love that. That would be so cool.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to offend people, but I feel like movies and shows really aren't all that different.
How dare you? No, yeah, they really aren't. I just wanted to.
They don't have to be movies; they could be shows. I'm like, those are like kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, well, I'm talking like an anime versus like let's get a full.
Wow, now you're offending anime people. Anime. I don't know if you knew this. Is animated things.
Yes,
like the same thing,
but it's different. Like that is a different art form than something like a Pixar animated movie. You know what I'm saying? But like you can have a full feature length anime movie, but anime traditionally is just something that like it can crank out episodes. Like they take a lot of shortcuts. That's like part of the art style. Like all those backgrounds that are just like a static background with like pans. lines moving across. Like picture Ash Ketchum throwing a Pokeball. It's never in anywhere. It's like just like a blue background with him like whoa, with like anime lines. Like those are things to shortcut.
You're talking about anime with like 1,000 episodes. You're
Oh
not talking
yeah.
about these like 12 episode season animes.
No. But I would love that too. I want anything. Honestly, just give us something, Nintendo. Like 30 years since they made a Nintendo movie, right? Like they haven't had anything besides that Mario Bros. Movie that was so weird. They're like, nah, we're just never going to touch that
Well, they
again.
had the
And
Super
then
Mario Bros. Super Show,
that was back in that same era.
and it was incredible. And that's when we
Why
found out
not do
Toad
that?
has
Like,
a hat.
why did it end? Why did it just like end? And they're like, we're never touching TV shows or movies again.
The movie.
I guess so. I guess it was just that bad. But I mean, Pokemon does it right. They do it right. They've got the movies, they've got the show, they did the live action movie. Detective Pikachu's really good. All right, it's really great. All right, Micah, this is going long, so let's move to the next question. we're just rambling. I don't know if that's exactly what we're doing here, but yeah. Brian Eck says, you can travel back to any year in the 90s. It's Saturday night and you make a trip to Blockbuster Video with some friends. What console and or games are you renting?
I mean, by travel back, you mean we travel back at this age, right? Not the age we would be back then.
Because maybe a little too young.
Because I'd probably be pooping in my diaper in one of those situations.
Why would that be?
Well, there's only two things you do in a diaper.
Let's go back to 93 because then Micah's not there, and this is a better place. You know what I'm saying? No, that is hurtful. That is hurtful. Let's go back to 94 so you can get a pooping in the pants, Micah.
Exactly.
I think you can interpret this question however you would like. I am interpreting it as I am going back and I will be able to go to Blockbuster and rent a game system and game, and that's what I want to do. Yeah,
makes
goon.
Sense. That's what I have to make sure.
I feel like I would be renting and this is what we did, rent a Super Nintendo, and we would rent some Ken Griffey Jr. baseball. Oh yeah, that's my childhood right there. We would rent Super Nintendo games from the store. We had the system, but we would go and rent the games. I also rented Tetris Attack a lot, and I want to play that again really bad, so I'd probably say that. Tetris Attack, which is Panel de Pon, but instead of all the fairy creatures, it's all Yoshi themed.
Just nice.
Why don't we have that? Why is that not available on NSO? Let's have that. I want that too. I love Panel de Pon. I think it's fun. I like the unique characters, but I also like the Yoshi version.
I will never play Panel de Pon for the rest of my life.
What if they put Yoshi in it? I thought you loved Yoshi.
It's too late. I do love Yoshi, but it's too late. I've burned myself out on that game.
What if they put Samus in it?
Nope. Never
Nothing.
again.
Nothing. All right, Micah, what would you rent? What system? What game?
What game and what system? That is a very good question. I would probably rent the Sega Genesis to play through all of the Sonic games.
Just to remember how bad they are.
No, but I actually might get a.
No, that would be fun.
I might get the Sega Genesis to play Hang Time, NBA Hang Time. I think that's what it's called.
All right. These are
solid. That was
solid.
my jam back in the day.
These are solid, unique picks. We're not like going and like, oh yeah, let's go get.
Because a lot of these, I guess you can get it for the 64.
Yeah, I don't remember. I feel like Blockbuster was sort of dying in the N64 because I don't remember even considering renting N64 games. I know you could, but I don't remember even considering it. At that point, we were just like, we're just gonna buy them. Like we're just gonna get the games ourselves.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes any sense. But we would go to Blockbuster to get you could go to Blockbuster to get your Pokemon Snap photos printed off.
Oh yeah,
Be real cool.
Only the really cool kids did that.
Yeah. Speaking of, we have that's a great tie-in to the N64. A question here from Presto.
Well,
Could you
I
give
just
me
I just have to clarify for chat the reason why I'd potentially go for a Sega Genesis and those other things. It's because I have access to be able to play a lot of these other Mario games already. I don't need to go back in time to rent something to play it.
Yeah, for real. For real. But I mean, Sega Genesis would be like I don't know. I just feel like it's a little traitorous to the cause of what we are as a Nintendo podcast. But we also have access to a lot of Sega Genesis games.
You got to keep the listeners guessing, you know.
Yeah,
do the unexpected. Learn that from Nintendo.
All right. So the next question here comes from Presto, who asks, "Can you give me a mini review on all of the N64 games on NSO?" And you know what, Presto? That's way too much for us to do in a review. But you know what? It's not too much to do. Yeah, in the community corner, it's not too much for the PAL topic. Is it playing? I can't tell. Wait, it straight up disappeared. What happened? I clicked on it and it's gone.
You have to do it a cappella.
All right, hold on. It's working now. That's right. It's the PAL topic. And in the PAL topic, we talk about whatever we want to talk about. This is the main focus of the episode here. And we're going to do a mini review of everything on the N64 app. So, Mike, I think we got in order to save on time here, I think these have to be a minute per. How many games do we have to go through here? Not too many.
More than 3.
More than 3. I count. That's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games?
Yep.
All right. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up to the top. Yoshi Story, I think, is a fantastic game.
As Yoshi's, all you need to know.
Great little it's a platformer on the N64, a 2D side-scrolling platformer that uses 3D assets. So very interesting concept, very unique to the N64. You don't see any other games like it. Do you have anything to say about that? Each of us get a minute or 30 seconds.
Just the Yoshi, and you can throw eggs.
Next one is Winback.
A classic. Covert Operation.
I played about 5 minutes of this while it's been on the NSO app, so I don't really know if I can give much more to say other than, you know what? You're going to win back something. It's very shoot 'em up-y-ish.
It's relatively difficult.
Yeah.
You use the A button to shoot, which feels so unnatural nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Next game, Mario 64. This is it's flippin' classic, everybody.
A flippin' classic, but also kind of the worst 3D Mario just because of the controls and camera.
Because of age. It does hold up, though. Minus the camera, which is a little wonky, but is pretty good for the time. If you play other 3D platformers around this time period, you will cry.
I will say it does hold up surprisingly well.
Yeah,
but
and I think that this one's a fun one to go back and play now. I actually didn't play it originally on the N64. I didn't have this game.
What?
Yeah, Yeah, what is right?
Wow.
I have it now for my N64, but I think my first playthrough of it was on the DS, like a full complete playthrough. So there, yeah. I think that this is like the golden standard for the start of 3D gaming, and for that it deserves a play. Like go back and play it just to go like this is where it all started. They kind of like there were other 3D games prior to this, but this one just like this is what video games in 3D space can be. It's a world. It's like it's got character. It just oozes charm, and it's just very Mario. Yeah. Next one. I'll let you talk more about this one. You played more of this than I did.
I don't actually know if that's true.
Oh, really?
But Star Fox 64 got those classic triangles. Incredible.
Classic triangle. What? What are you talking about? Like
triangles.
It's very polygony. Is that what you're trying? Okay, I was like it's got a lot of polygons. It's very pointy. Yeah. It's an interesting one. It's such an enhancement from what was on the Super Nintendo for Star Fox. Like this is like quintessentially the best Star Fox game. Like everybody still says that. Like, oh yeah, this is the best Star Fox game. And it just
played it. First time I played it was on the Wii Virtual Console. Not even mine, someone else's.
No,
but it's still great.
Yeah, and it holds up very well. On rails shooter, has great story. The characters are fun. Love it. I think Star Fox 64 was kind of yeah, the best character. What is this other one called? Is this Sin and Punishment? I think that's what this one's called.
I can't see anymore because I'm currently playing Star Fox right now.
Like it's like, this game is very good. Let me take a look at it real quick. Sin and Punishment, actually super fun. It's another kind of on rails shooter type game. It's so ahead of its time feeling in aesthetic and gameplay. But definitely has not aged as well as some of these other games, but it's still really fun. A very arcadey shooter type game, and I think it's worth checking out.
It definitely seems more of a like get a good high score on rail shooter.
Yeah. I guess I don't really have too much to say about that one, other than give it a shot. I don't know if it's one like I can say confidently for Super Mario 64 and Star Fox 64, like I could go back and play through the entirety of those games. Yoshi Story, I don't know. Win Back, probably not. And Sin and Punishment, probably not. But they're worth trying since they're on the platform.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to some more like multiplayer stuff here with Mario Tennis. How do you feel about Mario Tennis, Micah? Mini review of that. I just
played it like the first time today for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
And I crushed Boo as Yoshi.
That's actually not true because we've played this together previously.
Did we play this one?
Yes.
I don't remember playing this one. I remember playing Super Smash Tennis.
Yeah, we played more Super Smash Tennis, but that was like prior to this coming out.
Well, obviously, it's not actually that good then if I don't remember having played it previously. So I take back, it is a relatively okay game.
I think it holds up pretty well. It's really fun, and it's the first official appearance of Waluigi, making it the birthplace of the greatest character of all time. So it gets a wah out of wah from me. It's a fantastic game.
It's like a little more simplistic than tennis games nowadays, but I mean, It does hold up very well. Except for when you're playing on the far side. I'm so bad. When you play on the close side, it's very easy to hit the ball. Playing on the far side, not so much. At least for me.
All right. Next mini review is for Mario Kart 64. How do you feel about it?
It's a classic.
It is a classic. This is the first Mario Kart in the series that you can go back to and play easily. If you go back to play the one on the Super Nintendo, it is hard because it is 2D and it is like It's so disorienting. I played through that game in its entirety as a kid. I loved it. But I go back to it now. I'm like, how did I do this? It's like I can't tell what's going on. This game holds up very well, and the multiplayer online aspect to it is very fun. It's just a good game. It's a solid Mario Kart game. Pit it side by side with not Banjo, Diddy Kong Racing. I think Diddy Kong Racing is a little bit better.
I'd say I remember Diddy Kong Racing being a lot of fun until the last time I played it, and it was so hard to control myself. I don't know how I did it back in the day.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's just a little bit more variety with Diddy Kong Racing. But Mario Kart 64 is just a classic. It holds up well. Definitely a fun one, worth playing today.
Yeah.
Just to go play on Block Fort.
Probably just skip the next one.
Oh man, we have to. I didn't even think about how we have to talk about Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, not as good as everyone remembers it being.
Okay, that's Micah's. Are you done? Can I just have the mic?
I'm not done.
Okay, give us your thoughts on it.
The combat is tedious and repetitive. The dialogue is so incredibly slow.
For the audio listeners, I am face palming right now. I'm face palming.
You can't say that combat in Legend of Zelda hasn't gotten better.
It's gotten better. Yeah.
That's right. See, you can't face palm if I'm telling facts. Plus, the story isn't really all that good. The only good part is when you open up the doors and Ganondorf's playing the organ. That's pretty good. It's the best part.
No. Nope. All right, Micah.
It does have fishing, so that's pretty
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, fishing mini games are where it's at. Yeah. Ocarina of Time is a classic. I love it. Still, it holds up for me. Micah may be onto something that maybe it doesn't hold up as great for those that don't have the nostalgia for it. But then again, we also have
plus, and people who had the nostalgia for it. It might also not hold up. Yeah, because that was me. I was like, I'm going to love playing this game.
Yeah,
I did not enjoy myself very much.
But I have talked to people that have played it for the first time on NSO that seem to really enjoy it. So take Micah's opinion and my opinion with a grain of salt, because you may love this game, you may not. I do think,
but you should definitely give it a try. I'll say
I do think that it holds up very well. There are aspects to it, obviously, that have aged poorly, but I think we've said that about almost every single title on this list so far. Like, yeah, there's you said, there's like the camera wonkiness with Mario 64. I think there's less of that with Zelda, just because you can control the camera a little better with the Z targeting, and that's just kind of normal. Well, I mean, we've been doing that up until Breath of the Wild, with the exception of Wind Waker. With the exception of Wind Waker, okay.
Which is why Wind Waker, if you hadn't played Breath of the Wild yet, and Wind Waker was the first Legend of Zelda game you ever played, it would have blown your mind. Because
I guess that's true. Was Wind Waker the first? Was Wind Waker the first Zelda you played?
No, Ocarina of Time was.
Well, I think it holds up really well. I think it holds up really well. It's very good for the classic Zelda formula of go through the dungeons to get the power-ups and keys to unlock the next thing. And the world is huge. There's a lot of different places to explore, a lot of biomes to try. And I love how much there is to it. Like, and this is one of those things where, we've talked about it before, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, like Ocarina of Time, I would love to see get that sort of treatment, because with Final Fantasy VII, I'm in the Micah Ocarina of Time camp for Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, this game does not hold up. It just doesn't hold up for me. I can't get into it. I did try it. I was like, nope. But the remake looks very cool. They've taken and expanded the world, and I just think that there's so much potential for that with Ocarina of Time. I love the characters and the goofiness, but also simultaneously kind of horrifyingness at points. Like there are spots, like the whole like below the well dungeon is like so dark and demented
And terrible.
in stark contrast to like everything else in the game. Very colorful, and the music very good. I do think the gameplay holds up. I mean, it's not the most complex combat, but it's fun. I enjoy it still.
I don't.
Is it my
All that
favorite
much.
Zelda game? No, but it's up there. It's up there still. Even having been friends with Micah and doing this podcast with Micah for as long as I have, it still holds up.
I just
for me.
think you need to play through Ocarina of Time again, like legit, because I know you've recently done some like speed running techniques and things, and those make it fun in their own way. That makes it. It's just different than just playing through and appreciating.
Yeah, it doesn't count
the way
if I'm having
to be.
Yeah, totally doesn't count if I'm having fun with the game by playing the game. Like that doesn't count.
By playing the game. You're having fun breaking the game. Let's be honest. There's a little bit of a difference.
I mean, I am still playing the game and having a good time. I
You're not
don't
playing
see
the game
how that
it's
doesn't
intended
count.
to be played.
Who cares if you're playing the game the way it's intended to be played? I'm playing the game and having a good time. This is a completely different topic. This is a pal
essentially
topic for another
you're
day.
playing the game and having fun despite the game, is what it sounds like.
No, nope. I am enjoying the game, and I do think it's fun and it holds up. But I should play through it again. That would be fun. Next one on the list, Dr. Mario.
I mean, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun puzzler.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Dr. Mario's never been my favorite.
Yeah.
I prefer other puzzle games myself.
I did play quite a bit of the phone app game they had. And enjoyed that.
And you know what? It's like this collection's puzzle game. There's not really another game like it on here. Till they put on like a Pokemon Puzzle League game, and then that will be the best game that they put in. So, yeah. Dr. Mario 64. All right, next up is Paper Mario. You played through this recently. What's your thoughts? What's your review?
This is the best game on NSO. For 64, at least.
Really?
Yep.
Why do you say that?
Because it's great and it holds up well.
It's true. It holds up very well.
The style of the game, like, just means it holds up well. Essentially, you don't have to deal with weird camera controls and physics and jumping as much.
It lends to the style. The art style lends to the platform so well that it just is like it. If they released this game now in the exact state, like you'd be like, yeah, there it is. Well, probably be a little disappointed. Like, oh, those graphics aren't that great, but
yeah,
but yeah, agreed. Paper Mario holds up extremely well. It's very fun, a great RPG that uses like action timing to kind of add to the turn-based system, plus the badge system and the level up system and the story, the characters. There's so much charm to it. Is it the best in the series?
No. Quite.
Thousand Year Door probably is still the best. But this is like the next best behind Thousand Year Door, potentially. Would you say this is better than Super?
I don't know. It's pretty close. I'd have to play Super again. I did really enjoy Super.
Yeah. Well, what are we looking at next? Banjo-Kazooie.
And I will never forgive this game for when I had completed an area and all I had to do was leave, and I was jumping across the pit to land on a platform, and the camera flipped 180 suddenly, and I fell and died. It was a very disappointing moment in my life. Other than that, it's pretty good.
I think it's a fine 3D collectathon, and if I had played it when it came out, I probably would have liked it so much, but I just can't get into that genre now. I don't know.
I enjoyed it, but I kind of burned myself out collecting everything in the first several levels.
I just don't
Haven't
think
gone
I
back
like.
since.
I just don't think I like collectathons, man. I just don't think I like it. It's not for me. Sorry to disappoint everyone.
Some people.
How dare you? But for a game that oozes charm, has really fun 3D platforming, and like animal transformations, like this game has it all.
Yeah,
I'll be
and
interested. I will
generally, even
definitely
with
be.
that one weird camera moment, it generally holds up pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely will be checking out Banjo-Tooie if it comes to the platform. Next up, Majora's Mask. Both of us are partway through our playthroughs of this one, so it's a little hard to give it a full gauge estimate. And I feel like I haven't gotten to the parts that everybody says are like, that's the good parts, is when you're like doing like the side quests for the masks.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't like streaming this, I don't know if I would finish it, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Especially since I lost somehow lost some of my save data and have to like redo the last temple I was in.
I like this game a lot. In my where I'm at with it. I like it a lot. It's so intriguingly bizarre with its story beats that I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things where you're just like, I just got to see what happens next because this is so weird. And I like that. I don't know.
It's got masks. That's pretty cool, I guess.
It's got masks. There you go. F-Zero X. It's fun. Have you
good old F-Zero? I don't know if I've actually played this one.
I think the single player is way better than the multiplayer in this, and that makes me a little sad. I feel like missed opportunity for you to be able to do Grand Prix racing with friends. That would be very cool because there's so many cars on the track. It feels like there's like 100 people driving, and you're all just going crazy, like, and you're there's just a really hyped sense of speed, and I like it a lot. I feel like F-Zero captures a side of racing that Mario Kart will never capture, and that is like that high speed. Like Mario Kart, even at 200cc, I still feel like I'm playing Mario Kart. Like, oh, this is silly, and it's fast, but it's like, oh, this is silly. But F-Zero is like intensity.
They're gonna explode if you crash.
Yeah, and the best way I can describe it, like the only comparable game I have for it is Pod Racer on the N64. It was like,
yeah, that was
just
great.
getting that. You're just like getting up to that speed. F-Zero has that. All right, we're coming down to the final.
Yeah, it was
few
from
games.
The 20 seconds I've played so far, it is actually quite enjoyable.
Yeah. Mario Golf. I think I'm going to offend people here and say this one does not hold up. I couldn't get into it. It's like so disorienting because the golf ball is like 2D and it's hard to tell where it's going, what's happening. The courses just are like it's so charming.
Wow,
there's so much
about those graphics.
There's so much charm, and I love the characters and the design of the characters. But then, like, I just can't tell what's happening on screen, and I just am not good, I guess. So there you go. What do you have for Mario Golf?
I have not played the original Mario Golf yet.
Oh, okay. Well, Kirby and the Crystal Shards. Micah, I haven't played this one.
You haven't played this one?
No, I haven't. Is it good? What do you think of it?
I have enjoyed it. I've played it like one session, so not a ton, but the power-ups are pretty cool. And you can combine some of them.
Nice.
And I have enjoyed my time. And it has held up pretty well, I think.
Well, there you go. Kirby and the Crystal Shards, pretty good. That's a pretty good out of pretty good. On the scale of Ocarina of Time to pretty good, it's pretty good.
It's pretty high above Ocarina of Time.
Last game on the list just launched, Pokemon Snap. This game is great. I love it still. I think it holds up pretty well.
I haven't played it that recently again, but it's probably my second favorite game.
Yeah,
of the 64.
It's got like a puzzle solving aspect to it. Also, it's just fun. It's short, so you can kind of clear through it in a single long playthrough. Yeah. Pokemon Snap.
Who doesn't wish they could take pictures of Pokemon?
Yeah. Your dreams have come true, if that's what you wanted. Well, Micah, that about does it for this episode of Nintendo Pals Podcast. This was episode 96. Thank you to everybody for listening. And we want to give a shout out and thank you to those who support the show through our Patreon, which you can check out at Nintendo Pals. Patreon.com/Nintendo Pals. I was going to say NintendoPals.com/Patreon. Not a thing. Patreon.com/Nintendo Pals.
Maybe someday.
We got a brand new patron this week, which I forgot to shout out at the top of the episode. So we'll shout him out now. And that is the one and only, maybe the greatest username on the internet, Third Strongest Mole. Thank you so much for the support. Sam, fantastic guy over there. And awesome member of the community as well. We have several Patreon supporters that we do want to give a shout out to because they have not yet made it into the Poke Rap, but they will be in next week's Poke Rap because it is a new month. We will finally update it with all the new names. And I think we have enough to fill a good portion of the next verse. But get your names in quick if you'd like to be added to the rap, which you're about to hear. But before we do that, shout out to Third Strongest Mole, Canine Cantina, Cosmic, Lil Miss 7, our Pal Latinum producer, name on the wall for both of us here. That's one of the tier rewards that you can get if you're at that top level. Tim A, aka Neo Prime 33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4.
Oh yeah, we can use that one to fill up like 3 lines if we need to.
We could use it. That's a whole verse by itself for Tim. And Seth Sturgill, aka $2 Hero, the legend over at All In Podcast. That's everybody. So with that, we'll do a send off here with the Patreon wrap. But before we do, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Roger Pollard for the intro music that we use in each and every episode, and also for doing our logo. Roger Pollard makes fantastic stuff. Check that stuff out. Links to his work are in the description of the episode. And with that, it's a send-off here. Go. We gotta wrap some Patreon.
You just do the singing. I'll take care of the hard part.
Let's get it on.
We want to be the best there ever was. And shout out our pals over on Patreon.
OD, Riz, or Retro Dodge Day. You dug a game or Slimped or Spider-Shane. Solo something, Brian Egg. That's all for now, so come on, join me.
Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Patreon. Let's get 150 or more, yeah, please. To be a Patreon donor, it's your destiny.
Thank you all so much for your support, and we'll talk to y'all next week.